What's the funniest thing that's happened to you during sex? We've been in an ongoing nerf war since I want to say February. Recently she pulled a pistol from underneath her pillow and shot me point blank while I came. Cum shot. When I first started dating my girlfriend, I stepped on a bottle of lube, spraying it all over her wall, and then slipped on it, fell on the floor, then subsequently farted on impact. 2 seconds later the Canada Day fireworks went up in the harbor downtown. True story. I wish I could make that my signature move. As I was going down on my wife, the cat decided it would be a good time to climb and sit on top of my head. I tried to ignore it, but when she looked down she started laughing so hard that it killed the mood for the rest of the night. Pussy sandwich. One of the first times I ever had sex with my wife, I was trying to jack off on her face and I was using my spit as lube. She said, "You're getting spit on the face," but I heard, "spit on my face." So I did and we both died of laughter. Goodness, first time and you're nutting on her face. Gotta do it right the first time. In middle of it we heard her little brother jokingly yell from the other side of the door, "Don't be fucking." Then he ran in. Didn't have any time to hide, so I just stared at him. He yelled, "Oh fuck," and ran out of the room, monsieur. Other thing that is more embarrassing than funny, but my GF's mother has the tendency to either not knock at all or knock on the door, but no wait at all before rushing in. Most of the time we've managed to hide. Of course she probably always knows what has been happening, but at least she hasn't seen me fully naked a whole lot. But once my GF was sitting on top of me and her mom came in. GF managed to grab a blanket, but she literally sitting on top of me underscore isn't obvious at all underscore. She knew what was happening and still barges in? Sounds like mom wants some action. Sounds like the mom has no fucking manners. Mid-anal she decides she wants to 69. She gets off my dick and spins around to suck while I eat her out. And she must have relaxed too much, because she took a shit on my face. We're getting married next year. Luckily, she found it hilarious, because I was mortified. Dude, you fucked the shit out of her. One of the very first times I ever had sex, I looked out my window to see my neighbor having sex with his girlfriend. He noticed me and nodded. "What's up?" mid-stroke. Later found out that the girl he was having sex with at that moment was my neighbor from the house that I had just moved away from like 6 months prior. My new neighbor was fucking my old neighbor and I saw them while having sex with my girlfriend. Small world. She was on her knees, face down on the bed, and I ate her out. That fucking fart blast that just ripped right up my nose gave me a good scare. Trying to not wake the house up LMAO at 3:24 a.m. I was sitting on his face for the first time while he ate me out, and I squirted without even realizing. Instant waterboard. I noticed he made a weird face and thought maybe I was smothering him too much. But instead he made a run for the bathroom to spit it all out. Killed the mood because we were laughing so hard, and now I joke to him about how he doesn't swallow. Successfully asserted dominance. I don't remember all the details, but my boyfriend at the time played some prank on me. All was good and fun, but I felt like I needed revenge. So while we were having sex, I was on top of him and had to fart. Normally I just hold it and deal, but this was my chance for revenge. I stopped moving and he just looked up at me and asked what I was doing. I farted right on his balls. Loud and juicy sounding. He laughed so fucking hard. It was my perfect revenge. Got so lost while hitting it from the back that I drooled all over her. IDKY, but I blame her for making me lose cognitive function for a bit. I met a guy off of Craigslist once. I only share this story with my closest friends, so here goes nothing. I was trying to get over someone I loved who had just moved away. So I decided to do this on a whim. Monsieur, the guy from Craigslist, literally looked like the spitting image of Paul Rudd. No joke. So I was like, fuck yes, let's do this. We started making out and our clothes started coming off. Things start getting hot and heavy. I grab his hair to pull on it a little, and it fucking comes off. His hair was in my hands. I realized within about 5 seconds of silence that I had just pulled a toupee off of his head. And then I started to cry. Because wow, I can't trust anybody, not even their hair. I spent the next 10 minutes trying to convince him that I wasn't crying because of his toupee. It partially was and wasn't. Looking back at it now, I think it's hilarious. But at the time I was mortified. Had a second date with a guy. He stayed the night. We made out but didn't have sex. Then the next morning, I definitely blew him. And as he was coming, my roommate, who had been cooking bacon or something in the kitchen, set off the smoke detector. Something about the timing of the alarm going off as he was getting off just really made me laugh. My dog licked his balls while we were in doggy style. With the dogger Yoso. My nickname for a while at my husband's job was Trooper, cause the first time we hooked up I was giving him a blowjob and he gave me a heads up that he was about to come. Monsieur, what does my dumbass do? I gave him a thumbs up. He came and then began to laugh. Then he recounted the story to his work buddies and one said, "Ah, she's a real trooper then," and it stuck. Last time we saw this particular coworker at a bar he greeted me as Trooper. Still, 3 years on, you're cool with him chatting about your sex life to coworkers. Lots of people are. Was doing it with someone and our friend knocks on the door. "Hey, I have a question." Not now, INSERTNAMEHERE. Seriously, you guys want to throw around a baseball? Quote, "Give him a football." She passed out while on top of me right before I had to leave so I couldn't get up. And that was the first time I've ever used a sick day at work. What a call to make. "Sorry, I can't come in today." We did it and she passed out on top of me. Yeah, I'm that good. They pass out after from the pure joy. Should be in tomorrow. Unless it happens again. I was with a girl who liked to wrestle a bit and be held down. Except she was a dancer with incredibly powerful legs and I underestimated her. And she accidentally kicked me in the chest and broke one of my ribs. Hostel in Rome. One of those cheap rooms with about 8 bunk beds per room. Monsieur, right on the other side of the wall was the communal area for a bar. I had been flirting with this Kiwi girl for most of the night. At one point, we discover the bedroom is empty. So we close the door and go at it. About 10 minutes in, the bunk bed collapses on us. About 20 people rush in at the sound of the crash and screams. We got teased pretty unmercifully for the rest of the night. Finished smashing after everyone else was asleep, though, so no harm done. Yeah, everyone was definitely not asleep. Boyfriend was going down on me. He started doing a Cookie Monster impression while he was down there. Made me laugh so hard I let out a little fart right on his face. Ripped a fart accidentally when I came on her tits. Her face went from pleasure to just a dead stare while holding her tits. I don't know why, but we were laughing at something before we had sex and it just kept on popping inside our minds while we were having sex, so we ended up laughing while we were doing it until we finally stopped having sex just so we could have a good laugh. In the end, we were too exhausted from laughing that we just fell asleep naked. I remember she had like the loudest queef ever and she was so embarrassed but I couldn't contain my laughter. Oh my god, I think I was crying of laughter. It wasn't the first time she had queefed during sex, but this time it was so loud, oh boy, I felt so bad afterwards. She became a bit self-conscious because I was her first ever sexual partner. So after the fact, I remember we sat down and talked about how it was natural and there was nothing wrong with it. I mean, she was my wife, so I obviously was supportive, but I'll never forget that loud-ass queef. Came very loudly, as her roommate was trying to open the door. Mom came in, she broke the fucking door. I was going down on my GF in high school. I was kneeling next to the bed with her legs hanging off the end. I was fully erect and my cat came from under the bed and licked the tip of my penis. scared the shit out of me. If you have ever felt a cat's tongue, you'll know how horribly uncomfortable that felt on the tip of my member. Funny story. We decided that it would be a good idea to try something new. Dating for nearly 2 years at this point, and went to have sex in the shower. Foreplay happened. The shower was on. To add to the disaster, I knocked my shampoo by accident, but we shrugged it off. Last thing I knew, he slipped on the shampoo and we both went down. He cracked his pelvis. Nothing too dangerous, so he was fine after some months. And I had a cut on my lip because I bit it by accident when we fell. We're not dating anymore, but we're still friends, and we still laugh about it. Probably when I lost my virginity, accidentally poked her in the butthole from behind and she turned around, stuck a finger in my face and sternly said, "No." I laughed and told her it was an accident and we proceeded from there. Also that one time my roommate guarded my locked bedroom door during a party. I was balls deep in my FWB doggy style and another friend was standing next to him. Slammed the door shut, and then I heard him scream, my eyes through the wall. Can't remember if we finished or not. This is with my current sa. A few months ago we were getting hot and heavy and his absolute best friend called in the middle of it. Without missing a beat, my boo answered the call. Still thrusting. His friend was inviting us both out to go eat brunch. Watching this man just smiling down at me, trying his absolute best not to make it sound like he's having sex while still very much having it, and talking about his favorite food made me laugh my ass off. Needless to say, we never finished, but fuck, it made my day. I queefed on my husband's face once. It killed us both and we still laugh about it all the time. My then boyfriend at the time got a bloody nose and started to bleed on my face. It was my fault. I fell off the couch and hit his nose with my hips, so it caused a bloody nose. That isn't even the end of it. Once things got steamy and we finished, he took off the condom and spilled some cum on my shoe. I was dying of laughter and also embarrassment. It was the best. I don't really know if this falls in the category of funny or just bad. I look back at it and laugh. I was just recently divorced and just turned 21. I was in the military. I was invited to a house party with a bunch of friends and I was getting absolutely drunk. When I say drunk, I mean 10 beers deep, and 6 shots later I find myself talking to this girl. At some point we end up in a room and we take a couple more shots. We start making out and removing clothes. Through all the booze I get hard enough to slide it in. We're in the doggy position and I feel like I am on the top of the world for about 3 minutes. Then it happened. The room began to spin and I started to needing to brace myself a little more. I burp and get a mouthful of vomit. I gulp it back and keep going. Then I burp again and there was no stopping it this time. I tossed my cookies and about $40 worth of booze on her back. I'm still trying to go. It took her a minute to figure out what just happened. She begins to scream and a bunch of people run in and flip on the lights. At this moment I realize how much I puked. It was everywhere. In her hair, on her back and legs, the bed, floor, and on a lamp next to the bed. She now sees she is covered and she begins to throw up. Meanwhile, 3 or 4 people are dying of laughter and one is trying to help clean her up. I am standing there with puke on my chest, still naked with my arms up in the air like I just wanna fight against a bear. More people walking in the room and applauding me and giving me high fives. It was like the puke Olympics and I got the gold. After everything calmed down and she wasn't raging anymore, she looks back at me and I respond, "Call me tomorrow." Quote, "That was the end of my night for obvious reasons." She never called me again. What is this formatting? Satan's. There you go. Thank you so much for watching and have a good day.